Hello again, friends. Well, I did this video. This is like the third or fourth time. I had trouble. I do this on my phone because then I can just upload it directly to YouTube and talk about frustration. Oh my gracious. So I'm here at my desk again for our visit. And last time I'm scrolling through, can't see, and talked about, I followed up with you about, I'm sorry, too many other things going on in my head. I followed up about the buyer's guide, food buyer's guide, and pleaded with you to please use that. Please use that. It is a really valuable resource. So in our last few visits, I've used the term clean food. And Kirsten told me that perhaps, allow me to back up just a moment. This goes back to the revelation that I had in talking with my friend Bill that perhaps I need to stop talking at a graduate level and fill in some blanks. So this is another fill in the blank. This is, I'm going to try and keep doing that. So clean food, with that in mind, clean food. So I'm going to try and give you a little description of what clean food is. And in the written stuff below, if you read that, you'll see that I give you a list. So what is clean food? And I'm going to try and describe what I mean by clean food. Excuse me. So I have a little list. It's local. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong spot. It's local. It's pesticide free. It's raised properly, and it's minimally processed. Four things. So now let's talk about what those four things mean. So does local mean that it's clean? No, it doesn't. So you can buy stuff, you can buy food that's locally produced that isn't necessarily clean. But if you don't buy local, I question the cleanness of the food. All right, so you've got a lot better chance. Boy, I'm sorry, I've got so many things. If you buy local, you can meet the farmer like me, and you can talk to them. You can know them. They will tell you everything that they know about what they're doing for you. They put in a lot of effort. If food is what you should be eating, then it takes a lot of effort for a farmer to raise that for you. So that's why I have local and get local. So there are things obviously that you can't get local, like olive oil and coconut oil, dry beans. Where are you going to find somebody local to you that grows dry beans that will sell them to you? It's pretty rare. Okay, so like use some common sense. One of the things you can get local that you really should get local is honey. Find a supplier for honey. That pollen that the bees use to make the honey is local to you to help you with your allergies if you have any. Also, honey is like a superfood. It is amazing stuff. All right, so local. The next one, this is a really big one, pesticide free. All right, so you can say, well, I buy and eat organic. Great. Let me tell you what organic is. Organic, by law, can have pesticides applied to it. They have to be naturally derived pesticides, but they're pesticides. All right. So any word that ends in CIDE is a poison. Whether it's naturally derived or synthetically derived, it still ends. The word ends. Pesticide is a poison. So herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, algicides, they're poison. A mousicide, a raticide, all right, it's poison. And even though it's naturally derived, it's still a poison. And so when you're buying organic, which I have to admit we do when we can't find food that we need locally, what are you going to do? But organic, frankly, is not all it's cracked up to be. It's a great marketing tool, believe it or not. It's a true story. All right. So stop eating poison. I mean, when I say it to you like that, it's like, duh, I don't eat poison. Well, yeah, you do. You eat poison. And anything that you eat that, oh, we're going to have to explore this a lot because it gets in depth. And I'll need to try and come back to that. It really gets in depth. And you're looking for fresh food, you're looking for whole foods, you're looking for, well, one of the things that I have later, we'll get on it later, but try to get pesticide-free food. The only way you can know it's pesticide-free is if you know the person that's growing it, the family, the guy, the lady that's growing it, and ask them. All right, use the Food Buyer's Guide. That's why I put it together, is to give you the questions and the right answers to those questions to help you know if you're getting good food. All right, pesticide-free, a huge one. Raised properly. So vegetables, excuse me, I've got to get a drink. We've covered vegetables, pesticide-free. Well, what about meat? What about beef and pork and chicken and fish? Those are the big ones that we consume here, at least in Southeast Michigan. I think most of the nation, unless you're on the coasts. So not if you believe that, and you've been told and you believe that beef and pork are bad for you. Nod. You know, that's what we all believe. How about that chicken and fish are good for you? That's what we've been told. Well, it's not true. Okay? So beef and pork, when raised properly, again, use the buyer's guide. Use the Food Buyer's Guide. I tell you how to find and what you're looking for. If you use that buyer's guide and you find beef and pork that's raised accordingly, it's actually actively good for you. Instead of being bad for you, it's good for you. It makes you strong, and it makes you healthy, and it's good for you. Beef and pork are good for you. I'm really I'm a big chicken fan, obviously. We eat a lot of chicken. We produce our own chicken, so we eat a lot of chicken. But, man, good meat is really good for your body. Your body needs that protein. Now, fish. Let's talk about fish. You have to get wild caught. And even not just wild, because there are farming techniques that raise fish in the ocean, but they're raised in a great big cage, and they're given food. So they're not out there swimming after prey and swimming away from being prey. They're protected and they're fed, and it's not wild caught. It's not actually a wild fish, and there's a huge difference. All right, so you've got to get wild caught. My understanding from reading is that Alaskan wild caught fish is a really tight label. And if it says that, you're probably okay. So if you're dedicated to fish, then okay. Chicken, well, obviously I'd prefer you got chicken from me. But again, if you go to the buyer's guide and use the buyer's guide, then chicken can be good for you. All right. So what happens, so that doctors tell you to eat fish because a wild caught fish has the proper balance of omega-3s and omega-6s, all right? So the ideal balance is 1-to-1. One omega-6 to one omega-3 fatty acid. And it's good up to 4 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. But when you eat, I'm just going to use grocery store beef or pork or chicken, that ratio is like 40 or 100 to 1. So the omega-6s are way, way, way up to one little omega-3. All right. And when that ratio gets out of whack like that, I'm gonna back up. So when it gets out of whack like that, and it's all, it's way high in omega-6s and way low. I gotta look in this screen to see where my hands are. Omega-3s, then that's when you start having problems in your circulatory system, and your whole body starts breaking down because you have too many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. All right. So grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pastured pork that's raised in heritage it's in the buyer's guide, and then my pastured chicken. These are all foods that, if you follow the buyer's guide, they have the right balance. They're going to be 4-to-1, 4-to-1, or 1-to-1 is even better. And it's actively good for you. That meat is actively good for you, so it's got to be raised properly. All right. Again, it's in the buyer's guide. And then minimally processed. All right. So well, let me just see what I have written here. All right. Yep. I know what I was talking about. If something is shipped a long way to you, let's just talk about lettuce. All right. So we used to grow hundreds, thousands of pounds of lettuce every year. And I know that lettuce, when it's harvested or picked, it lasts for a few days. All right. Maybe 4 or 5 if you keep it refrigerated real well and you do just the right stuff to it. It'll last that long. When you get lettuce in the grocery, it has been harvested, and then it has to be processed when it's harvested, because you got to bag it in something or put it in a box. It's got to be cooled, and then it's probably stored somewhere before it goes on a truck. And then once it goes on a truck, let's say it's wintertime in Michigan, it's got to travel from California or Florida or a warm state somewhere to get here. So that's 1 or 2 days on a truck. So now we're at 3 days. Then it drops off at the warehouse, Kroger or Meijer or wherever's warehouse, and it's unloaded there and gets, wherever they do with that, and then gets compiled with another truck to go out to the actual store. So you got probably another day or 2, and then it gets unloaded at the store and put on the shelf, and it's there for a day or 2, and then you bring it home and it's in your refrigerator for a day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or a week. If we back up, I told you that when we harvested lettuce, if we kept it just right in a refrigerator or cooler, it would last for 4 or 5 days. What's up with that? All right. So I'm not trying to tell you don't buy lettuce. I'm just trying to explain to you, and I'm trying to show you that what you think is good and what you think is so, it's probably good that you can't see my hands because they're down here. They're down here and I'm doing this and I'm explaining. What's up with that? All right, so another argument for local, because local can be harvested in the morning and on your plate in the afternoon or the next day. All right, you see what I'm trying to say? This is just one example. So what's done to that? So I give a lot of other good examples. Now, it shouldn't be processed at all, but you obviously could argue with me and say, well, milk is processed into cheese and processed into butter, and we all don't want to eat a living animal. We don't want to eat a living cow. Just walk up and take a bite out of its shoulder. May not appreciate that. So there has to be, obviously, there's some processing that needs done, but you can mitigate it, right? So the more processing that's done, the longer it has to travel, the longer it sits somewhere, the more it has to be processed, so it's good to sell, because you don't want to sell stuff that isn't good, that's rotted. So you have to add stuff to it. You have to do things to it. You have to, whatever you do, something's got to be done to it for it to keep longer. I hope I'm making some sense. So if you've not copied and pasted and downloaded the Food Buyer's Guide, go back a few days, get the Food Buyer's Guide. Get it and use it. All right, please get it and use it. It's really a valuable tool for you. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. When you receive this, it should be Friday, so that's the last day of our sale, our chicken sale. So I'm going to review that with you real quickly. The chicken sale is this: if you buy $100 worth of chicken, we're going to give you at least $10 worth of extra chicken for free, no cost. We're going to just throw it in, so that's like a 10% discount, right? If you buy at least $150 worth of chicken, we're going to give you the 10% discount, and we are going to deliver it to your door for free within a 50-mile radius. We can't go into Ohio, so we got to stay in Michigan. 50-mile radius, we will bring it to your door for free, all right, for $150. So you get a 10% discount, and you get to see our smiling face at your door with your chicken. And then if you add, if you go up to $200 or $300, for every extra $100, we're going to deliver it, and you're going to get an extra $10 worth of free chicken thrown in for free. All right, so $100 saves you 10%. So in essence, you are getting $110 or more worth of chicken for $100, and on, and we'll bring it to you for free. I want to just also tell you that we have a few of our savvy clients or customers who realize that we are a seasonal chicken producer because we pasture our chicken, and pasture doesn't grow when it's cold and in the wintertime. So we are seasonal producers of chicken, and we won't be producing chicken in the wintertime. So if you have a freezer, you may want to begin stocking up and filling that freezer up if you want to have good quality Food Buyer's Guide worthy chicken all year. All right, because we won't have more chicken available until at the earliest, like mid-May 2018, or even the beginning of June 2018. So if you want to keep eating good and you want to be actively healthy and start cleaning out your system and start feeling better because you're following the Food Buyer's Guide, then you may want to start building up on chicken. I know it seems like a hard sell. I'm not. When they ordered and took advantage of this, our sale here, I was like, they already got a lot from us because they were both pre-purchasers, the ones that did that. And I realized, that's what they're doing. So I'm just passing along information that's from somebody else. All right, that's it. Get the Food Buyer's Guide, read it, try to follow it. And if you need help, if you have questions, you need help, shoot me an email. I'd be glad to hear from you, and I will give you the information that I have. All right? So eat well. God bless you.